Oh, you know, just me and the boys on beach vacation taking a dip down in the Dragon Isles with my 3 favorite ladies in the whole wide world. Gallows Giant looking extra hot today. She's always been a smoke show. Big Mama Bess laying it on extra thick. And the fishiest waifu to ever sail the ocean blue, Aranessa Saltspite, working that pole. And she's got crabs. Vampire Coast is a challenging matchup for the Beastmen. Crabs are a big part of that. They're a tough nut to crack. All that fear, all that terror, it doesn't make things easy for the Bray Herds of the forests. So as Optimus Pine commands the Bray Herds, and She Fango controls the Vampire Coast, we're gonna see how spicy things can get with a Vanguard ambush right in the pirates' face, giving them no room to breathe right from the word go. But you've gotta feel bad for that front wave. This is their D-Day. Spawning in the fire arc of Queen Bess and the torch of Bergenhofen, I don't think they're going to be in a very merciful mood. Depth Guard on the right flank, Invocation of Nahek and Drowned Dead Vampire Fleet Captain. There's the Gallows Giant, the Queen Bess, and 2 Rotting Promethean Crabs. And they've got blunderbusses, so they've got dual purpose. They can shoot you in close range, and they can kill you in melee. Morghur Herd in the wrong neighborhood. Bess lining up a shot. She's finna drop a 150mm rum-soaked barrel on Morghur heads. It's gonna be carnage, especially when they're getting bathed in napalm. And that's a unit just gone right at the start of the match. Morghur Herd are dead. They're dusted. It's it. It's over. They're just gonna get smashed by that front wave of artillery and flame. Oh, that's good. That's good stuff, man. That is super good stuff. So, it's a ticking time bomb. Beastmen gotta get into melee, shut down that Bess before she rips apart the entire Bray Herd. They're hiding in the woods for now, which is pretty smart. Should be able to give them a lot of cover. Bray Shaman of the Lore of Wild with Viletide to explode hordes of zombies. Razorgore Herd and the Butchers of Kalkengard in the rear would give them some additional punch and armor piercing in the front line. Blackhorn's Ravagers, bunch of Gore Herd, and Centigores in the back. And the zombie deckhand polearms are waiting on the wings to receive their charge. Now these Gore Herd in the front ranks are going to be in the firing cone of that Gallows Giant and the Queen Bess, and that just means they're done. Tide of Skjold can just push into the pocket now, that bloody pocket left in the wake of that explosion. Depth Guard will destroy the destroyers of the Drakbolt, but the poison will make that last a little bit longer than usual. But those two-handed vampire infantry are going to be a serious issue for the Beastmen front line, and that's not counting all the stuff that's already been exploded by Queen Bess. She's firing into the back line of the Beastmen now. I would think Morghur archers, but no, actually going for the Razorgore Herd. I don't know if that's fire at will being on, if that's intentional, but not really the target she wants to be shooting at. And the Centigores have been tied down by the Spearfisher's net by Aranessa Saltspite. Pretty effective way to shut down Beastmen aggression. Anything that's highly mobile, just plop that blue net down on them and they're not going anywhere. Depth Guard are suddenly in a world of hurt. There's a Bray Shaman on a Tuskgore Chariot, which has a massive charge bonus, and the Butchers of Kalkengard teaming up with 4 Morghur Raiders all firing in. That's a combination the Depth Guard just cannot withstand, even when they are fighting in the woods. Crabs are doing a great job, though, of shutting down the Beastmen aggression in the rear, and this Vanguard ambush has been, I wouldn't say stuffed, but Vampire Coast doing a decent job of handling it so far. The Rotting Prometheans are fantastic backline patrollers. They can tie down swaths of Beastmen infantry and fear rout a lot of them, while the Razorgore Herd are just making mincemeat out of those Depth Guard, and looks like they're already about to crumble. But the Queen Bess just went down. Centigores managed to get on target and get rid of the artillery. Got about 65 kills or so, which is pretty solid, but definitely didn't make her cost back so far. Gallows Giant is fine, and that's probably the thing the Beastmen have to worry about the most, because every time it unleashes a torrent of napalm into your infantry, this is what is going to happen. Entire units will just evaporate. They will disintegrate. They will incinerate. It's gorgeous. It's a thing of beauty to behold. Gallows Giant has become a monster with the changes to explosive damage a couple patches back, and now I frequently see it get over 150 kills easily without even really trying. So Morghur is saying, okay, well, if you're gonna do that, I'm gonna summon some Chaos Spawn, tie you down in close quarters combat, while the Rotting Prometheans continue to mulch their way through the Blackhorn's Ravagers and the Gore Herd in the rear. Now, the Morghur Raiders don't really have great line of sight right now, but I guess keeping that ammo for the Gallows Giant or the Crabs is probably a pretty good idea. Point blank volley, napalm going to destroy a few of those chaos spawn, and the Rhine Prometheans will absolutely smash chaos spawn in a 1v1 scenario, but they're just summons, so this is okay. Morghur does not want to fight the Torch of Bergenhofen in CQB. The thing has a massive bonus versus infantry and flaming damage, which Morghur is of course weak to. Aranessa getting on top of the Butchers of Kalkengard, and this is exactly how you want to use her. Pin high value targets in place, high value large targets, and just let her high melee attack and great bonus versus large and AP go to work. She gonna work that pole. And look at her stat line right now. She had 84 melee defense a second ago. I mean, you're not gonna get through that particularly easily when she's in the midst of a bunch of crabs and supported by the Vampire Fleet Admiral. Gallows Giant is still full HP, which is probably the biggest issue Optimus Pine and the Beastmen have to worry about, is how to bring that thing down. Now, they do have the tools to do so, as yet another Vile Tide explodes in and amongst the deckhand mob in the front ranks. How do you bring down the Gallows Giant? You get 4 Ungor Raiders firing at it at once, but for the moment, they're sitting a little bit far back, and 3 of them are in the trees right now, so they can't get good line of sight to kill the Torch of Bergenhofen. Aranessa doing a great job of clearing up the rear, and the Gallows Giant, it's great in melee too. It's not just about its ranged capabilities, which are incredibly impressive. It can torch you up close and personal, and it causes terror. So when you're talking 65 melee attack, much more, maybe like 80 melee attack against infantry, and all that fire, all that flaming damage, it'll be a big issue for the Butchers of Kalkengard too. Now, the Ungor Raiders need to move out into the open, so they're not firing point blank into all those trees. Those copses are blocking the majority of their shots right now, and they're really not making the impact they should be. Butchers, yeah, need to get away from the Gallows Giant, but the crabs are pinning them in place, and Aranessa is coming in. Slow motion for me, move it slow motion for me, and taking 2 Butchers of Kalkengard out with her spear, and she is on the hunt. She's making a huge impact on this game so far. Another Spearfisher's Net in and amongst the Centaurs now. 3 of them will drop, and she will continue dancing and styling on the Centaurs as the crabs come over, and that unit looks like it's about to shatter. Really well played from the Vampire Coast so far. Butchers of Kalkengard are going back in, but they've got to be really careful. They don't have a lot of support now. A lot of the Beastmen infantry is far and away from this mainline engagement. Morghur is low, must have gotten shot by the Gallows Giant a few times, and even the ranged attack will do damage to him because of that fire, because of that flame. Ungor Raiders are getting really blobbed up in the back line, but the Vampire Coast doesn't really have a good way to punish it. They don't have any mobile units, so the Beastmen kind of have their pick of the litter in terms of these engagements. If they can be patient and conserve their infantry for a bit, they might be able to swarm, get that Gallows Giant tied down, and then get the Ungor Raiders to fire in. And they are in range now. He's moved them out of the forest. They've got good line of sight, and this is what makes Ungor Raiders so special and so underrated. They aren't particularly accurate, they aren't menacing unto themselves, but when you get 3 or 4 of them all grouped up, oh, that Gallows Giant shot, that's gonna hurt. But when you got 4 of them all firing at the same target, and it's a big target, they can bring down anything. That volume of fire is tremendous. The DPS they can unleash is tremendous, and the Gallows Giant is going to drop here unless it runs away. But before he does, he's gonna fishhook some unfortunate Beastmen and blow him into the next dimension. Say hello to your dark gods for me, buddy. Peace. Ouch, that hurt. It's such a cool animation. And this is a big issue for the Vampire Coast because it's gonna drop, and that is maybe their win condition. But I say that, look at the balance bar. Vampire Coast has a handy lead at the moment. Pretty close to army losses for the Beastmen. Actually, Optimus Pine is going to have to work hard to bring himself back into this one. Aranessa going after the Ungor Raiders. Remember though, she has low armor. She does have a low profile, and the Ungor Raiders are not accurate. But with all those archers firing in, she could take some damage if she's not careful. But she's into melee now. That's where she wants to be. Those Ungor Raiders will be able to block some of those shots, and she is seriously going to style on these Ungor Raiders. God, that is so badass, man. That is so cool. Aranessa Saltspite carving her way through the skinny nerds of the Beastmen Bray herds and doing some anime kicks for good measure. Italian Spartacus said it best. I think it was in the Ever-Chosen Invitational with the Vampire Coast in my games against Sotek. Said that brings a whole new definition to the word pegged. Aranessa Saltspite is pegging these poor Beastmen, and they don't have good line of sight to fire into her at the moment at all. So she's feasting. She's having a grand old time, and she's gonna do it again. That's amazing, dude. God, Creative Assembly's artists and animators need to be commended for stuff like that. We're talking huge scale battles with thousands of models, and we're still getting graphical fidelity and animations like that. Can't take it for granted, man. Really cool. But this is an issue for the Vampire Coast now. Bonsmar swung back to almost even. There's a lot of Ungor Raiders, a lot of infantry, and the Vampire Coast is slowly running out of stuff. And that low armor on Aranessa Saltspite is beginning to be a problem. In fact, I think she just routed, and the Vampire Fleet Captain, well, she's on a crab, so she's got a big hitbox, a big profile, and it's pretty easy to hit her with all those volleys. Those mass volleys are going to be a huge issue. But if you mess with the Crabbo, you're going to get the Stabbo. They're feeling it. About to fear rout. Morghur just broke. I believe they shattered. Aranessa being hunted down by Morghur, who will probably chase her all the way to the edge of the map. So it's down to summons and the Vampire Fleet Admiral, or Captain herself. Morghur's still alive. Ungor Raiders are still alive. 3 of the Butchers of Kalkengard are coming in, and they're going to go on a ride. The Minibus taking a ride on the pain train. Nothing new there. That animation does not help them. It has never helped them. Every single time they roll forward and hit something with high mass, they just go flying. To be fair, Ronnie Promethean probably does weigh more than a Butcher of Kalkengard, but yeah, they're going to surround it. They're going to get their armor piercing in. Morghur's coming in, and this is beginning to look pretty desperate for the undead pirates. And as the balance bar swings, there's no way. There's no way the Vampire Fleet Captain is going to be able to clutch this one out. There's too much stuff, too many volleys coming in. Beastmen are going to take it. Optimus Pine is going to take it with a really nice comeback. Very well played to spread the field there and get some exceptional use out of those Ungor Raiders. Butchers of Kalkengard managed to survive as well. So we've seen it time and again. Mobility is king in Warhammer 2, especially when it comes to the late game. I think Fango needed to drop maybe one of the crabs and just get some mobility, some fell bats, some scurvy dogs. And yes, I realize double crab is super good, but you're gonna have to maybe drop something. I don't like dropping the Queen Bess. I don't like dropping the Gallows Giant. Those were fun, awesome picks, and they did some work for sure, but needed some scurvy dogs and fell bats to harry the back line and force those Ungor Raiders away. Gallows Giant just kind of had to sit there, bend over, and take it when 4 of them were pincushioning that ass. And what are you supposed to do there? I mean, the only way to deal with it is really to just run away, which, frankly, I think he could have done. He kind of just left the Gallows Giant in the pocket there to get shot up, which maybe wasn't the best idea, but it got a massive amount of kills. He dealt with the Vanguard ambush well, but Optimus Pine put so much pressure on the Queen Bess early, and then when the Ungor Raiders could finally be brought to bear, they crushed it. Ungor Raiders, severely underrated unit. Just that volume of fire is special. It's really, really good. We've seen it time and time again, that mobility being king when it comes to the late game. Being able to force routing units off the field completely changes the complexion of battles, and in this case, the lack of mobility for the Vampire Coast made it so they couldn't shut down the archers, and with it, the battle slipped away. GG to both players. Hope you guys enjoyed.